Hello, my darlings. Happy Tuesday. How's everybody doing? So, I see we've got some friends here. And Jenna, I love that you were logged in. And for those of you who are not part of Jenna's Soul Bard Collective, you really should be. Just saying. So, today we're going to talk a little bit about imposter syndrome. We all get it. We all get it. This wasn't what I had planned for today, but I got hit with it really bad on Sunday. Really bad. And, I kept hearing Becca Syme's voice in my head. Imposters don't get imposter syndrome. But it wasn't doing the job this time. And it got me thinking about why we give in to imposter syndrome. Because I gave in. I gave in for, the rest of the afternoon, but I still gave in to the imposter syndrome. The whole, nobody's going to want to read this book. Nobody's going to want to join Scroll and Scribe. It's, I'm fooling myself. I'm not, well known enough. I'm not this enough. I'm not that enough. And I gave in. And then it got me thinking about why we give in. And I didn't like the answer I was coming up with. Not at all. I honestly think that the main reason we give in to the imposter syndrome, even just temporarily, is because it's easy. It's the easy road. It's comfortable. It's so much easier to sit there and go, you know what? Nobody's going to read this book. So why bother? Why am I putting all this work in? I think I'll just sit and watch TV instead. And that's a lot more comfortable than going, well, nobody's going to read the book if I don't get it finished and publish it. So I better get my butt in gear and finish the book, right? It's like Kay is saying, change starts outside your comfort zone. We are so best friends with our comfort zones. Like, giving in to imposter syndrome is so detrimental, though. You can't move forward if you're staying in the same place. Okay? And you can sit there and be, well, I'm just going to ease up a little bit, or I'm just going to take a step back and take a good hard look at what I'm doing. It's like procrastinating. We all know what that is. How often do you go, maybe I should rework my plan? And then we use that as an excuse to not fight off the imposter syndrome. We will do anything we can, come up with any excuse to not feel uncomfortable. That's it, right there. We don't want to feel uncomfortable, but we have to. We have to. When you hit that publish button, for those of you who have published before and have published more than once, you know as well as I do. I'm 21 publications, 22 publications in now. And I still get sick to my stomach when I hit that publish button. Sick to my stomach. It's really uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable. And I still have the nobody's going to read this. Nobody's going to read this. Why did I put in all this work? Maybe I should just not publish this thing. I'll do it tomorrow. I need to go rework my plan. Oh, I promised myself I'd watch a movie this afternoon. Oh, I have to go to the grocery store. Right. Hit the damn publish button. Do it already. Because I'm telling you right now, Jenna, I both puked, right? So did I. And I still feel like that every time. Every time I hit the publish button. Every time. You'd think it'd be old hat for me by now, having published 22 times. but it's not. It's not. It's still, oh my God, I'm a fraud, right? I'm a fraud. What makes us even think that? Those aren't our thoughts. That's somebody else in the back of our head, and it's not about our writing. It doesn't have a basis in our writing at all. It has a basis in somebody else telling us we weren't good enough at something else back sometime between the ages of 7 and 10. I can guarantee it. And that's another talk for another time, probably with your therapist instead of me. But we still have to deal with it now. And as authors, and yes, you are an author even if you haven't hit the publish button. You hear me? You're an author. If you're showing up for your story and you're working your story, you are an author. I don't like this division between writers and writers don't become authors until you hit that publish button. Not my circle. Thank you very much. Okay? But again, another talk for another day. Thanks the parental units for that life lesson. Not. Yeah. And a lot of times our parents were just doing the best they could with what they had, and it's not an excuse, but it is a reason. And we are the ones who are responsible for fixing that. So focusing on our imposter syndrome around our writing, it's time for us to flip the script. Because one thing, I don't know about the rest of you, but what happened for me on Sunday, at the end of every day, right around 8:30-ish, I kind of do a little reflection about how my day went. And I sat on my bed on Sunday, petting Ziggy, and it was about 9 o'clock, and I thought, it was a crap day. It was a crap day. I really enjoyed doing my live stream for Heart Breathings and, getting my weekly plan done. And it was great. And I had a fantastic time with you guys. But then everything kind of just went blah from there. And looking back on the day, I was like, why am I doing this? I'm never going to make anything of this. I'm not going to be able to support myself, blah, 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 all this negativity. And then on top of it came, well, if you had just gotten off your lazy ass and worked and pushed through it and did the work like you tell everybody else to do, you fraud. That wasn't helpful. All that did was make me go to bed feeling terrible about myself. But it was the lazy part that struck me. Giving into the imposter syndrome made me feel lazy. And I'm not a lazy person, not by any stretch of the imagination. I work my butt off all the time, all day, 7 days a week. I'm not a lazy person, and I'm telling you, I'm looking at the list of people in here, and not one of y'all are lazy. I'm seeing people who work 16-hour days. I'm seeing people that work a full 40-hour week and then another 40-hour week in their own business. I'm seeing people like Elizabeth who have been head down, cranking the words this month, and we're not lazy. But it made me feel lazy. It made me feel lazy. It made me feel even more like a fraud. And it really kind of made me feel useless. So I got up on Monday morning and I had to work for a client for a few hours in the morning. And I did that. And then I had the absolute privilege of being able to go off to therapy yesterday afternoon. And I had this conversation with my therapist about how busy I am and how tired I am and how taking any time off makes me feel like a fraud. And I got jacked up pretty good. Jacked up pretty good by him. But at the same time, like it was me riding the wave of that imposter syndrome. And it's so easy to give into. It's so easy. There's a saying, and I have it in the office, and I had it done on a canvas that somebody painted for me. It's really pretty. That I cannot remember it was a woman that said it. I can't remember her name, but my grandfather was the first one to say it to me. And this was a man who was registered blind with 11 children and flipped houses way back when it wasn't popular. And the saying is, there are no shortcuts to any place worth going. And I forgot that. In the midst of all of this imposter syndrome that I have been going through for the last 4 or 5 days, I had forgotten that. And I wandered into the office this morning at lunchtime to bring mom in some lunch, and I saw it sitting. I saw the canvas sitting there, and I was like, yeah, there are no shortcuts to any place worth going. Imposter syndrome is a shortcut, if you think about it that way. Conversations in the head, but yeah. See, I had also forgotten this. I used to have what I called the 1 sprint rule, where if I didn't feel like doing something, or I was going through this place of I just don't wanna, or I'm not good enough, or whatever, I would say, okay, I have to do this thing for 1 sprint. And usually by the time I was done that sprint, I was raring to go again. And I forgot that. I totally forgot. I forgot about it until Jenna just brought it up right now. I think that we forget these things. I think that we start this out with these really great intentions, and then the imposter syndrome hits, and we start forgetting the tools that we put in place to combat it. So one thing that I'm going to suggest to you guys to do, and I'm doing it as well, well, not all of us, most of us do vision boards, correct? Beginning of HB90. Every quarter, every year, however you do your vision board. I think it's time for us to do a kind of stylized vision board-esque thing of, these are my tools. These are my tools for fighting imposter syndrome. Whether that is the 1 sprint rule, or having that saying, there are no shortcuts to any place worth going, having things like, I'm doing this so that my family can live a better life. I'm doing this because I want the big, beautiful house. Well, get a picture of the big, beautiful house and put it on your vision board. But this then becomes a toolbox, okay? Because it's full of those tools that we're going to use to fight the imposter syndrome. I would love to see these, if you're comfortable sharing them on Facebook or whatever, and tag me. I would love to see these. I should probably start like a, I don't know, Facebook group or something for stuff like this. I never even thought of it. But you know what, Yolanda? When you think about it, people have tattoos with sayings and things, symbols that remind them of stuff like this, right? I mean, we all do. Well, not all of us. Those of us who have tattoos, I've yet to meet a single person that has a bunch of tattoos and that they don't actually hold meaning for them. But, it's like Sarah with her heart breathings, fill your page with the breathings of your heart. I know several people with the believe tattoo, that kind of thing. But I think we need to have that toolbox, because this is so detrimental to us and it needs to stop. I need to stop. You need to stop. We all just need this to just stop. And the only way that we are going to get around this is if we have a toolbox. So, make yourself something up in Canva, fall down a rabbit hole for a sprint and make yourselves a little toolbox. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I have some errands to run right after this, and when I get home, I will be doing it. I will post it on Facebook, and there we go. There's my toolkit. Okay? You guys, let's just get this done. You know, you sit there and you think no one's going to read the book. Well, no one is going to read it if you don't finish it. So suck it up and let's get it done. Let's get it done. Actually, it is not. We may have something similar come up for Mel's Challenge this summer. But let's just do this, gang. Okay? Because it needs to stop. Elizabeth, you are so right. You are so right. You worry more about what other people think than what brings you joy. I said to somebody this morning who was talking about giving up something that they had been doing for the last couple of years, and they weren't enjoying it anymore. If it's not bringing you joy or making you money, why are you doing it? Get rid of it so that it can open space to bring in more good things for you. Okay? So let's get off our asses, and let's going to go kick imposter syndrome in the butt. Get your toolkit put together, put it somewhere prominent, whether it's in your planner and you're moving it so that it's in your face every morning. Frame it, put it on the wall. Make it your desktop background. Okay? Yes, get rid of that FOMO and do what you love. But get off your butt and do it. Do not let imposter syndrome stop you. Are you ready? I am. Let's go do this. All right? Listen, thank you guys so much for being here. I love you to bits. Love you to bits. I'll see you next Tuesday. Ciao.